Hi, welcome to my channel. I received some moulds yesterday from Mooncraft Melt Supplies. I received this Lush Halloween one. I really love that scary face. As you can see, they've got quite good detail in them. They're pretty large too. This is the igloos. I'm going to turn those into candles. And there's the name of the supplier, just in case you need to find them. Here is the mica powder I use. I got from Fizzy Wiz Craftivator, and those pens are from Amazon. With the pens, I do the detail on the wax melt, on the moulds. I colour these in quite a lot in order to make sure it does come out when I demould. Also a tip, make sure you put the wax over the mould, over pour, because on those little ones, because otherwise they break really easily. Here I'm going to be colouring in a couple of the wax melt moulds with the wax melt pens. Like I said, I got these from Amazon. They're brilliant. It can be quite time consuming, but usually it's worth it in the end. I'm mixing up paint there, wax paint, to put in the Halloween pumpkin. This one wasn't a very good one that came out, so from now on I'm just going to be using orange dyes to colour this in. You'll see the end result at the end of the video. And there it's done. All done. So the next step now is to measure out the wax into the jugs. I get most of my scents from Mystic Moments, Candle Stuff, Craftivator and Craftastic. Although I have got one there from Fizzy Wiz. I put 200 ml of wax in. So I put roughly 15 ml of oil in. Works out about 7 ml per 100 grams of wax. Give it a good stir for at least a minute. I usually do 2 minutes. With the thermometer, ideally it needs to be between 60 and 70 depending on what wax you're using. I usually pour the scent in at about 70 degrees. I don't usually over pour with these type of wax melts because they're pretty big anyway. But obviously that's up to you. I'm putting a little bit of black mica in here from Fizzy Wiz. I was a little bit disappointed with the way this turned out. It wasn't as black as I hoped it would be. However, there was quite a good marble effect, as you'll see at the end. With the leftover wax that I had, I got a little deli pot and I filled that up. And then what I'll do with that is, with one of the moulds, like the bat or the screaming face, I'll put that on. I'll melt the wax down a bit with my gun, and then I'll put the mould on and it'll stick onto it. As you can see, this is about 15 ml again. So it's 200 ml of wax for the Christmas one. There's the temperature, just to show you. I recommend buying a heat gun. They're brilliant for cleaning out the bowls, because as you can see my one is pretty full. So I'll give that a good old heat up tonight and it'll all clear out. And it's also good for when you make slight mistakes on your candle. You can just heat it back down again. And voila, it's all sorted. This is a dye chip from Candle Shack. This is for a Christmas mould, so it's quite a deep red. Give it a good stir, make sure there's no dye chip left in the wax. It's got to all be melted down. This usually takes a good couple of minutes. I did add a little bit extra into this one as well because I did feel that it wasn't quite dark enough. But that is totally up to your preference. With this now, I've put the mould into a glass cup, but it was a little bit narrow. So I just got a bit of paper, stuck it down to make sure it didn't wobble around, and poured in the wax. With that pin that's in the end, that's a centering wick pool. Basically, you pull that out at the end and you pull through the wax. Not the wax, the wick. I got ready cut ones for this that I've done. The wick tool isn't quite in the centre, as you could tell, so normally you would have to move that around a bit. Here's the igloos. I'm going to cut a little slice into the bottom in the middle so that I can make these into candles. Again, this is the fragrance oil that's going in. Again, give it a good stir for at least a minute, but I usually do it for about 2 minutes just to make sure it's all nice and mixed in. And then when it's all ready, pour it in. This mould was quite tough. It took me a couple of goes to get the scissors through it. But I did eventually get there with both of them. Then I put the wick centering tools over the top so that the wicks are central. Poured in the wax. Again, if you want to overfill a little bit, you can. And finally, this is how they all turned out. The igloo, I cut the bottom of the wicks off, but I will probably be using string wick soon, so I won't have the bottoms on. As you can see, they've turned out really nice. Because it's a candle, I can't use mica in it because it burns, it affects the wick. There's the ones. As you can see, that pumpkin did not turn out good at all. So, never mind. There's the flower. Obviously the colours aren't great on it, so I will have to do a better job of it next time, but that's just to show you. That's me pulling out the wick centering tool. This is the first time I've used this one. I should have popped it in the freezer, but I didn't. Hence why this was really difficult to take out. And I had to get my daughter to pull it out. There's a hole at the bottom. You just stick it through. Thanks for watching.